What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to talk to you about an insulin pump. So recently I was lucky enough to have a trial for a week with the TANDEM T-Slim insulin pump, and I'm going to give you kind of a review that I have on the pros and cons for that and what I chose to use for the sites and whatnot. So first of all, actually I'll show you the T-Slim first. This is T-Slim insulin pump. It is quite slim. Got all your tubing, and you choose your site. I don't know if you can see this, but here's the needle. Not quite, but it shows you that it's not super big, so that's good. The first site that I used was on my leg, on my inner thigh. I chose to have it there because I wanted to have it hidden, and first site that I put in was extremely painful, and I thought there's no hope for this. I'm never going to use an insulin pump. However, got home, changed the site, and from that point on, it was like it wasn't even there. Later that day I did a leg workout. I went for a light jog, and through that whole workout I couldn't even feel it. I was extremely surprised. So that was a bit of good news right there. Actually, I can show you guys how it works too. We have the cartridge that your insulin goes into, the needle you use to pull out of your insulin pen. I use Humalog. You pull it out of the insulin pen, put it in the cartridge, and hook it up. I also use Lantus, but as an interesting fact with the pump, you don't use Lantus, you use Humalog, and it gives you small doses of Humalog throughout the day, which I didn't know was even possible. So that's pretty cool. The pros and cons with T-Slim. I'm not going to say it's 100% awesome, and it wasn't a total failure. So with the pros, you can kind of forget about the dosaging, really. It's got an onboard computer. It does calculations for you. It can give you fractions of a unit of insulin, which with my pen I can only give units of 1. So 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit. With the TANDEM T-Slim insulin pump, I was able to give 1.2, 1.53 units of insulin. So it's very specific. And if you input your blood glucose, it'll also give you a correction factor. So if you choose to use it, if you're too high, say like a 180 or something, it can give you a fraction of a unit to bring you down a couple notches in addition to your mealtime insulin. So that was pretty cool, because not only is it going more specific, it's beeping at me now because it's not plugged in. Not only is it more specific and more exact on how much insulin you need, but it takes the calculations out of it. You just plug in how many carbs you need, and that's it. It calculates everything for you, and it tells you how much insulin you have on board. That's pretty sweet, so you know how much, if you're going to be stacking meals, which is, it can be dangerous. It tells you how dangerous it really is, how much insulin you have on board at that time. So for the pros, we have, I put in a needle into my leg, and I barely even felt it during a leg workout, and this thing does calculations for you. It's fantastic to not have to do all these calculations, think about fractions of units, because I can't even do that with my insulin pens, and it just took the guesswork out of it. Now for the cons, like I said, it's not perfect. So with any insulin pump, you have tubing. Tubing is no fun. I mean, you got this stuff, it can get hooked on doors, it can get hooked on somebody's hand when they're giving you a hug, and while it does have this anchor point, so this is the needle, this is the anchor point, that's going to help, because if it does get tugged on, it pulls on that sticker first before it tugs on the needle. So that was a great idea. Thank you guys, because I don't want needles getting pulled out of me. But tubing's annoying. What's connected to the tubing is the pump itself, which means whenever you get changed, you have to hold it in one hand. If you're going swimming, you are able to actually suspend the insulin, which I forgot to mention. You can suspend the insulin for an hour, so you can take it off, go about your business, put like a waterproof cap on it if you're gonna go surfing or swimming or take a shower, or if you just need a break from it, I guess. But anything over an hour, and you're gonna be missing out on your micro dosages of Humalog, which, you know, it's like that background Lantus. So under an hour, you're good to take it off. Back to the tubing though. I did not like that I had to hold it while I got changed. I suppose you could suspend it, take it off, put the cap on, get changed, and then resume insulin, put it back together and go, but I found that to be more time consuming anyways. it's not necessarily a con for all of people, but that first sight that I had was excruciatingly painful. The needle went into my muscle, and that's just expected. That's not Tandem's fault. That's kind of a con. It beeps a lot. It would actually beep and wake me up in the middle of the night because after about 12 hours of not being used, it makes sure that you're still alive, you're still trying to use it, and so it would beep and wake me up around 4 in the morning. So that was not fun, but I understand why it's necessary. So I can't fully include that in the con list. Now the next con, I would say it's an inconvenience, but it's also convenient. So this is a pro and a con. It's convenient because it takes care of all the stuff for you. It takes care of calculations. It's insulin at the push of a button. So you don't have to bring your insulin kit with you. That was big for me. I could just slide it in my pocket and didn't have to worry about bringing a backpack to put my insulin in. However, on the con side, it is inconvenient because it's an additional piece, additional article you have to bring with you everywhere. It's connected to you, so it goes in your pocket, or some people have the belt loop. And I don't like being tied down to a machine. And with the pens, it gave me the freedom to go about my business, not have things connected to me. However, I do use Dexcom, so that's connected to me as well. But there's no wires. There's no machine that I'm carrying around. So having to carry it around, having to hold it in the hand while I change, and if anybody doesn't like being known as a diabetic, this is going to raise some questions. People are going to wonder why there's tubing coming out of you. So pros and cons, overall, it's a great device, extremely helpful, but a little bit inconvenient. So if you can deal with the inconvenience of having to have tubing connected to you, it's awesome. But if that's something that gets in the way of your daily life, maybe the pens are for you. I've still got these. Haven't fully made my decision yet, but my week trial is over, so I'm gonna go give it back, and we'll see what I decide. I don't know. I'm on the border because I like being free to move and go about life without worrying about a machine connected to me, but it's also nice being free to be at peace knowing that this machine is taking care of your insulin dosages. I should also mention I tried putting a site on my back, and that was surprisingly pain-free. I did a whole back workout. I sleep on my back, had no pain there with the needle going straight in. I used a true steel connection, which is a rigid needle instead of a flexible catheter, and yeah, very surprised that there was no pain and pretty comfortable. And yeah, the tubing's long enough to fit in my pocket, so it worked out just great. Now, that being said, I am going to throw a shameless plug at you guys. I run a diabetic company. It's called FTF Warrior, and we educate diabetics to help them figure out their blood sugars, help them stabilize their blood sugars, plan meals so that their blood sugars have less spikes and drops, and eventually we also teach them weight loss tactics, teach them fitness, nutrition, mindset, all this fun stuff. And right now, this program is actually free. And this is the last time we're going to be offering it for free. It's a 6-week program, and it's starting soon, we think. It's starting New Year's Day, so January 1st. If you guys are interested, I will post a link in the comments so you guys can get a hold of me and fill out an application. We'll figure out if you're a good fit for the program. We would love to help you, and we look forward to coaching you. Keep up the fight. So that's the end of my review. Check it out if you want. I think they give free trials to anybody with a hospital or endocrinologist recommendation. This thing just loves attention. Yeah, if you're diabetic, remember to check your blood sugars, even if you got a Dexcom on. They're not always perfect. They're great, but they're not perfect too. Just, keep fighting. It's a tough disease, and these tools are making it easier, and they're going to keep pushing further and further. I know that they've got some closed loop stuff in the works right now, where they're going to have a CGM integrated with the insulin pump so that you can just kind of let your insulin pump do the work for you. Which you should still be checking, but it'd be nice to have that peace of mind.